about is the Pharaoh within, the Paro within, okay? So there's this really interesting text inside the Haggadah. Inside the Haggadah, it says, B'kol dor b'dor, in every single generation, Hayev Adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. In every single generation, a man is required, or a human, okay? An Adam is a human in this case. Every single person is required to see themselves as if he went out of Mitzrayim, as if he left Egypt. Okay? Shenamar, like it said, Ve'agata lebenecha beyom hahu lemor. Like you're going to say to your son on that day, this is a quote from the Torah saying, what are we doing in Pesach? What's the whole point of the Haggadah? Is we're supposed to tell our son on that day, Bavor zeh asa Hashem li beseitzi miMitzrayim. Okay. Through this that Hashem did for me when I left Egypt. Okay? So what we're supposed to say in the Haggadah that we read every single year, we say that each and every one of us is supposed to see ourselves as if we went out of Mitzrayim. Because the language of the Haggadah is, this is what Hashem did for me when I left Egypt. Okay? Now that should make a few of us sit up and go, wait, what? I've never been to Egypt. I've been many places. Currently, my bathroom, my bedroom, the refrigerator, but I have not recently been to Egypt. So what is this saying that in my leaving from Egypt, is it just like a ke'ilu thing? Is it meant to be just like, oh, like you're supposed to pretend, you're supposed to like really feel it. You're supposed to do like method acting and be like, it's like I went out of Egypt. Like, what does this mean? If we keep reading in the text, it says, not only did our ancestors he redeem, but also all of us together with them did he redeem. And he took us out of there in order to bring us and to give us the land that he swore to our forefathers. So this is not saying ki'ilu, like, oh, it's kind of like you got to pretend, you got to really like put your head in it. No, it's saying in some way, what the Haggadah is reminding us is that in some way, God has taken each and every one of us out of Mitzrayim. And what we're telling over at the Haggadah, what we're telling over at Pesach is our exodus from our Egypt. Okay, so if every single one of us has left Egypt and every single one of us has gone out, then let's delve, what does that mean even further? So if we go further in, actually, if we go back in the Haggadah, there's a song, Avadim Hayinu, right? Avadim Hayinu, Hayinu, Pharaoh b'Mitzrayim, right? Okay? Your uncle starts banging the table at this point. If you're Sephardi, you're whipping people with green onions at this point. If you're not Sephardi this year, just take on that tradition. You can whip people with green onions. I totally give you permission. Okay, it's like, Avadim Hayinu, right? It's to keep the kids awake. And also, so then you get to whip your family members with onions. No further explanation needed. Okay, so what do we say in Avadim Hayinu? Avadim Hayinu, we were slaves. It's not saying Avadim Hayu, they were slaves. It's Avadim Hayinu, we were slaves. To Pharaoh in the land of Egypt. And Hashem, our God, took us out of there with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm. And if Hashem hadn't taken us out of there, we and our children's children would still be slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. Now, the way we usually read this is like, you got to take this seriously, because if Egypt hadn't happened, we'd all still be there. And most of the time, you got that one saucy uncle who's like, yeah, well, there's no Pharaoh anymore anyway, right? But this is actually to be yes, I like the people who are smiling who have the saucy uncle, okay? So, but this is actually giving us that same concept again. Wait a minute. Not only do we have to know that we came out of Egypt, you and me and everybody on this group chat came out of Egypt, but you've also got to know you personally have been a slave in Egypt. You no longer are, but you have been enslaved in Egypt. So number one, things that we know from the Haggadah is A, you've been to Egypt. B, you were a slave in Egypt. C, if Hashem didn't take you out, you'd still be there under the hand of Pharaoh. Cool? You've been to Egypt. You were enslaved in Egypt. If Hashem didn't take you out, you'd still be there under the hand of Pharaoh. Cool? So now we need to understand what that means, because we're not talking about literal Egypt anymore, because last I checked, we're not in Egypt, and most of us haven't been there. So what is the Egypt that we can understand this? What's the deeper level? What's the Haggadah telling us on a deeper level? So first, let's understand what Mitzrayim is on a deeper level. If you guys have had classes with me, you probably heard this before. It's from Rav Moshe Shapiro, okay? Rav Moshe Shapiro was a contemporary Rav, Zichron Tzadik Lebracha. He passed away a few years ago. Okay, my husband used to go and sit in his shirim. So this is something that we learned, like I learned by my husband, who learned from the Rav himself. Okay, so it's very incredible Torah. Rav Moshe Shapiro was an incredible, incredible gaon. And his classes were actually the most fascinating things, because you would have like Rosh Yeshivas, you'd have the leaders of yeshivas sitting next to like guys in knitted kippahs, sitting next to like a guy who was clearly a taxi driver, like everybody sitting together in the same shir, okay? And he was able to reach all of them because his Torah was mind-blowing. So here's what he says. When he talks about Mitzrayim, what do we got to understand? Mitzrayim is two words put together. Metzer, Yam. Metzer, Yam, okay? The two words combined make Mitzrayim. So what's Metzer and what's Yam? Metzer is constriction, okay? Tsar, kol haolam kulo, Gesher tsar me'od. It's narrow, right? So a metzer is a constriction or a narrowing. Now this makes sense because Egypt is literally a narrow country, okay? They could only in the ancient world survive next to the Nile itself. So the entire civilization was, you had the Nile River, and then the whole civilization was narrow on the banks of the Nile because they couldn't survive outside of that. Okay, so one, it's literally a narrow country. But on a deeper, more metaphorical level, it's a place of constriction. Egypt is a place of constriction. It's a place of narrowing, and it's a place of limitation. Okay, so when we think about Egypt, when we're talking about metaphorical Egypt, it's a place of constriction, limitation. Okay? What is it constricting? What is it limiting? The Yam, Yud Mem. Okay? Yam is the infinite. Yam literally means sea. Metzer Yam is constricting the sea. But when I'm talking about metaphors, what is the sea? The sea is that which is infinite. It represents that which is infinite, because if you ever looked at the sea, it's big. It's one of the biggest things in our world because it wraps around the planet. It doesn't really end, right? So Metzer Yam is the constriction of the sea. What does that mean? It means the place that constricts or limits the infinite. It constricts or limits the infinite. And that's what Mitzrayim is really about on a metaphorical level. Mitzrayim is the concept of limiting and constricting the infinite, aka God. Okay? Yam also gives us a hint to that, because Yam, the gematria of Yam, is 50. Okay? 50 is the ultimate, the limit of the limit, right? How many levels of Tuma did we hit in Egypt? 49. Why? Because if we hit 50, we hit the limit of existence. Okay, how many limits of Kedusha did we hit when we got to Har Sinai? 49. Because if we hit 50, it's that which is beyond. Actually, in Spanish, there's a cool hint to this. In Spanish, the way you say 50 is cincuenta, Sin with an S, with a, o sea, S, is without. 50, you can read it as without count, without end, without limit. I don't know. Okay, so 50 is the limit, right? 50 is the ultimate, okay? So Mitzrayim is saying that the whole concept of Egypt was the concept of limiting God. And that's what Egypt was all about, right? They didn't have limitlessness. They didn't have infinity. They had everything very nicely boxed up. Okay, we have the god of the Nile, we have the god of flies, we have the god of lice, we have the froggy-headed god, we have the jackal-headed god, we have the god of death, we have the god of light, we have the god of this, we have the god of that, whatever. And if you go over here and pray to the god of flies about your spider problem, it's not going to work because the fly god can only do flies, and the death god can only do death, and the froggy-headed midwife god can only do birth. And if you skip the wrong god, it ain't going to work. Egypt was all about limiting everything. No, you can't do that. No, can't do that. No, can't do that. In fact, the Jews in Egypt were limited into one place. You stay over there in Goshen. You Goshen over there, okay? Everything about Egypt was this sense of limitation. And ladies, that's our Egypt too. Our Egypt, what we experience is our own crushing limitation. The limitations that are imposed upon us. That, no. This is me. I'm here. And I cannot leave where I am right now. I am currently stuck here forever for the rest of time. This is it. This is me. Grow and change? Nope. Become different? Nope. Do the thing I want to? Nope. Stay here. Your Egypt is your sense of limitation and of being stuck exactly who you are and where you are. It's the comfort zone. It is the power of the status quo. And the status quo and the comfort zone are one of the hardest things to escape. They're the jail you build for yourself. Whatever is normal for you and whatever you're used to is where you will stay. Okay? It is very difficult to leave your comfort zone. It is very difficult to leave the status quo, especially permanently. It's easy to kind of like, okay, like, whoa, nope. I'm going to go over here. Nope. I'm going to come right back to where I'm comfortable, right? You like decide you're like going to work on your self-esteem. Like, I really believe in myself right now. I'm going to really work on me. So you put those Post-it notes in your mirror and you like look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I am worthy. And you'll do it for like 2 days, right? You'll be like, second day, you'll be like, I am worthy. And then the third day, you'll be like, I'm going to take this note down. I'm not. Let's not play. I am what I am. And I'm going to be what I'm going to be. And I'm going to be here forever. That's the concept of Mitzrayim, is this concept of being stuck, this concept of being limited. Okay, so we all have our Mitzrayim. We all have these limits that we placed on ourselves, these ideas of who we are and what we're capable of, that we are very, very stuck in, that we are very, we could even say, enslaved to. And what's keeping us there? Just like we have a Mitzrayim, we have a Pharaoh. We have a Pharaoh. And who's the Pharaoh? Your Yetzer Hara. Yeah, big, bad, scary Yetzer Hara. Your Pharaoh's job is to keep you in Mitzrayim, not to let you leave. And it's really fascinating because the thing about Egypt, you've got to understand from even the story itself, Pharaoh had nothing to do. He didn't want our work. He didn't want our labor. He just wanted us to stay. Stay where you are. Don't have any more kids. Like, don't get any bigger, but just stay where you are. Just stay. Sit down, stay. And in fact, your Yetzer Hara is usually not spending a lot of time trying to get you to change, trying to get you to do anything bad. It's very rarely up in your ear being like, let's start drug trafficking. We're going to start a cartel. Like, very rarely is it ever coming up with anything creative. Most of the time, your Yetzer Hara is just like, let's just stay here. Let's just stay here. Let's stay here. If you've been in any of my classes, I can tell you exactly what your Yetzer Hara sounds like. You are on Netflix. You've been watching Netflix for about 4 hours. It's the point where Netflix is no longer asking if we want a new episode. Netflix is just starting the episode and is like, are we watching the intro? Yes, no. Okay. And at some point, as you cruise into that 4th hour Netflix, there's this voice that's going to come rumbling out of your head. It's going to be like, you should like go do something. And then another voice will come up out of the bargain basement and it will say, but I'm so tired. I'll do that in 5 minutes. After this episode, I'll get up. I'll just finish this season. Right? That voice is your Yetzer Hara. Not because Netflix is so bad, but because it just wants you to stay put. The hardest thing in life is getting off the couch. The hardest thing in life is getting out of bed. The hardest thing in life is getting up and getting active. Once you start something, it's pretty, like, you kind of get going. You ever decided you want to Marie Kondo your apartment and you're going to clean everything? And like, you just sit there and you're like, I should really do that. I'm going to 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 do. And once you actually get up, open the closet doors, by the way, there's an entire freak out moment that happens there where you're like, nope. But if you act, by the way, like, let's just all have a moment. My dudes. You just see that and you just walk the other way. You just walk the other way. You just keep walking away from it. But eventually, if you actually reach in there and take out something, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is great. And you just go. Because the hardest thing is starting. The hardest thing is leaving the status quo. The hardest thing is the beginning. Okay? So all your Pharaoh is doing is your Pharaoh is up in your ear being like, stay where you are, stay where you are, stay where you are, stay where you are, stay where you are. But Hashem sends us someone to help us come out of Egypt. Who helps us come out of this constriction, the status quo? Moses, right? Moshe shows up and he's like, I'm going to talk to Pharaoh. Let my people go. Let my people go. On the metaphorical level, is this, hold on, I don't know how to, I'm on a Mac. Is this different from our Amalek Yetzer Hara? The Yetzer Hara is compared to so many different things in this story. So many. Right now, we're going to do the Yetzer Hara versus Moshe as the metaphor, but it's also compared to the Amalek. Okay. Close. There. Okay. So Moshe shows up and he's like, let my people go. Let Ayelet leave her own self-limitation, status quo comfort zone. Let her go. Yetzer Hara, she doesn't want to be here anymore. Let her out. And what happens when Moshe goes to the Yetzer Hara? When Moshe goes to Pharaoh, at the beginning, he gets laughed out of the palace. Because the Yetzer Hara is running the show. He's like, no. I am here. No. Go home. Go home. You little voice. I am in control. I've been running the show for about 20 years. Okay? Go home. Go home. And that's how it feels the very first time you try to change something, right? You're like, I'm going to change something. And then you try a little bit and you feel like you're made fun of in your own self. There is part of you that will make fun of the other part of you, being like, oh yeah, Rebbitzin, you're going to get out your Seder today and you're going to daven. Yeah, you're going to do Shachris. What, you think you're back at Neve? What? Mrs. Silver isn't here for PB&J. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you think you're holy? You're going to put it on your Instagram. What are you doing? You think you're holy? Stop it. Stop it. You're nothing. You're nothing. Go sit down. Sit down, right? Part of you makes fun of you. Your Yetzer Hara will make fun of your Yetzer Tov. And by the way, in our society, negativity is so common that positivity gets laughed out of your home and out of your life all the time. You're like gonna post something like a little bit positive on your thing, and you're like, oh, maybe everyone's gonna hate me. You know what? I'm gonna gloom, doom, right? Same thing in your head. So the first thing the Paro does is he makes fun of you, want to change, makes fun of you, and that doesn't work. Then what does the Paro did two things to Bnei Israel. He gave them avodat parech, which is breaking work, and he gave them kotzer ruach. He made them short of breath. All the Yetzer Hara is going to do, if that doesn't work, if making fun of you doesn't work, he's going to keep you really, really busy. You're going to be the busiest you've ever been. Let's say, just for something easy, you decide you want to wake up in the morning and say morning brachas. Because like in your own self, you're like, you know what? I'm done with this limitation. I can get up for 5 minutes in the morning and say, thank you, Hashem, for my life. Thank you, Hashem, for the world. I want to say morning brachas. So the first rule is the Paro is going to be like, yeah, do you even know where your Seder is? You have no idea. It's in that box from Neve. You have no idea. Or like, oh, you're going to open your Seder now? You're really holy, Mrs. Revinson. Okay, so let's say you get through the like teasing. Then the Yetzer Hara, if that didn't work, is going to be like, okay, that was no go. Next, avodat parech kotzer ruach. Let's make this chick busy. So you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm going to say my brachas, and your phone is going to go, all of the notifications. You're going to have 97 notifications. Everyone and their mom is going to like your last Instagram post, even though no one's liked anything you've done in years, right? All of a sudden, your phone's going to blow up, okay? You're going to get a WhatsApp from, like, your high school boyfriend, and it's going to be like, have you thought about getting together? You're going to be busy. He's going to get real busy up in your life, okay? If you get through that, it's going to be like, you're going to walk into the bathroom and realize that you have one eyebrow instead of two, and you need to deal with that, right? Right at this moment, right now. I have a unibrow. No, they should be two. Oh, I need to deal with that right this minute. Okay. If he doesn't do that, you're going to look down and be like, I haven't done a manicure. You're going to end up busy. You're going to end up busy. He's going to make you busy with something so that you don't leave Mitzrayim. And it's amazing. We are all stuck in our houses right now, and I'm still busy. I'm busy. I mean, it is Pesach, so like we got to clean everything, but like I'm busy. You know, we could all be writing like the next great American novel, but I don't know, we're all busy somehow. You know, you're like, I'm going to do yoga. Like, no, I don't know. It just, the day runs by and it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, well, how did I not get around to the yoga? I just been busy in my house. Wait, what happened? How do I turn this on? Can you say more about Hashem making a short of breath? Hashem didn't make a short of breath. Paro made a short of breath. Paro's work made us short of breath. Basically, when Moshe shows up and he leaves the palace and he goes out to Bnei Israel are like, could you like leave? We don't want you. It's one of the most fascinating parts of the Torah. They're like, because Paro's response is to make them work harder. He's like, you know what? I was giving you straw. Now I'm going to make you get your own straw. And Bnei Israel look at Moshe and they're like, dude, you're not helping. Dude, you said you were going to get us out of here. Paro's making us work harder. And they lost all hope because of that constant busy stress. Constantly busy and stressed. It's not new. Being constantly busied and stressed out, making it so that you can't achieve anything, change or grow, is basically Paro's tool bag since Egypt. Okay? So if that doesn't work, if he makes fun of you and that doesn't work, and if he keeps you busy and that doesn't work, then the last one is fear. Paro was incredibly terrifying, which is funny because he was only like, you know, according to the Midrash, he was like 2 feet tall or something ridiculous, right? But like, he was terrifying. They were all terrified of him. And fear is your Paro's last tool. Your Yetzer Hara will start out with just making fun of you. Then it'll keep you busy and stressed out. And if that doesn't work, then it will put fear in you. And it will use fear to control you. Well, if I do that, then, well, what if I fail? Well, what if I didn't, you know, I don't think I'm quite smart enough. I don't think I'm quite good enough. And it'll start ripping you up. Like, who do you think you are? You're going to fail. And then everyone's going to know. You're worthless. You're nothing. You're no good. Like fear, absolute terror. What if I get out my Seder and I finally daven and I don't feel anything? Better not to do it at all. What if I decide that I want to like start blogging and no one reads it because I'm not good at it? What if I decide I want to go back to college? Or what if I decide I want to like change careers and I can't get a job? Or the Rona has destroyed the economy. The Rona. Right? What am I going to do? I can't, if it doesn't work to tease you, if it doesn't work to keep you busy, he'll make you terrified to change. Because all he wants you to do is stay enslaved in Mitzrayim. Now, here's the most incredible things, ladies, is the truth of the matter is we cannot leave Egypt alone. We can't. Moshe's not enough. Moshe came down and he's like, hi guys, I'm Moshe. And the people were like, hi Moshe, later, bye. Now, Pharaoh is way stronger than you and this isn't working. Who took us out of Egypt, ladies? It wasn't Moshe. It was Hashem himself. Hashem himself came to Egypt to bring us up out of there. And the same God has to bring us out of our own limitations as well. You see, Moshe, after his first encounter with Pharaoh, right, where Pharaoh makes fun of him, and then Bnei Israel are kotzer ruach, Moshe's afraid and he gives up. He actually gives up. He's like, I'm done. I don't know, what do you want? You sent me to save these people and making their lives worse. Like, what is the plan here? And what Hashem responds to him is an incredible piece of Torah truth. What he says to him is, Bo daber el Paro. Bo, base aleph, bet aleph. You see, if you know Hebrew, it should say lech, go talk to Paro. But it doesn't. It says bo. And within that is an incredible secret. You see, bo means come. Lech means go. And God never told Moshe, go deal with Pharaoh. What God told Moshe was, bo, let's go deal with Pharaoh. The Hizikuni said that bo is there to hint to you that Hashem said, Moshe, come with me and we'll go to Pharaoh together. You see, the incredible thing is we do not have to try to leave Egypt on our own. We have the most incredible, powerful God in the world who is very willing and ready to let us out and to help break us out and to destroy Pharaoh and make him look really stupid. But we have to ask. We have to ask for help. We have to say, save me, take me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And that in and of itself is what starts the entire process of leaving Egypt. Come, Hashem says, you're scared of Pharaoh? It's okay. He's been making fun of you? No big deal. You're like really stressed out and busy? I got this. We'll end the slavery. I'll make you free. Just ask. Bo, come with me. We'll face Pharaoh together. And what's incredible about all the Makkahs and the entire process of leaving Egypt was it was to teach the Jews who our God is. So when we're sitting at the Seder talking about Exodus, and we're sitting at the Seder talking about leaving Mitzrayim, it's talking to you about whatever you think you can't get over or get out of or escape or change in your life. Right? We sit there and we put our little pinky in the cup and we're like, darling, you think you can't do this? He turned the river to blood, my love. Svardeya, my darling, you think you can't do morning brachas? This God sent frogs on people. Like, kinim, my love, you can't change your self-esteem? My darling, he turned sand into lice. This God knows no limits. You are stuck in Mitzrayim. Allow me to introduce you to God who has no limits. They had a God of the sea and the flies and the we have a God of all the things. and you have a direct connection, and he is very happy to help. But I don't know, it's just so hard. Ask for help. He set hail on fire and threw it at them. You think he can't help you turn off Netflix and go do something else? Like, he sent darkness and gave us light. You think he can't help you see yourself in a slightly better light? He changed everything. He turned nature upside down. And he's willing to do the exact same thing for you, to take you out of wherever you're stuck. That's the incredible thing about this story, is we're not telling stories about our ancestors. We're telling stories about you. How many miracles have we seen? Everybody's got at least one or two really good miracle stories. There can be miracles when you believe, though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Seriously, watch that, right? Watch that. If you don't cry, I don't know what's with you. Because I ugly cry every single time I watch that, right? You've got to picture, when we talk about Exodus of Egypt, you've got to picture you like marching out, right? All of a sudden, like in the morning, it's like, ding dong, time to go. And you're just like, Ashira Ladoshem. See you later, bad self-esteem. Bye, toxic relationships. Ashira Ladoshem. Hello, davening with Kavana. Da 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 da. Meaningful Amuna. Like, it's walking away. You're walking away from everything that you're trapped in, everything that you're stuck, everything that you think you can never ever get out of because Pharaoh's been like beating you. That's when the Haggadah comes and says, Hotseisi, I took you out of there. Hitzalti, I rescued you. Ga'alti, I redeemed you. Lakachti, I took you for myself. Like, I've got you. Just ask. I'm about to bust up in here myself. When you say in the Haggadah, Hashem, not an angel, Hashem, no man, Hashem himself took us out of Egypt. It's because Hashem can take you out of wherever you are stuck. Wherever you see yourself right now that you think you cannot escape, and this is just who I am, Hashem himself can take you out of that. And he will. And that's what we're saying. When we talk about Pesach, we say, Zman Cherutenu, the time of our freedom. Because we're not talking just about physical Egypt, that yes, we are no longer in physical Egypt, but we are no longer required to be stuck in whatever Egypt we're stuck in. We are allowed to have absolute spiritual freedom, to walk out into the expansiveness, to leave the narrows and go into the expansiveness of a full life, full spirituality, full meaning, the incredible fullness of experience. That limitation does not, for anyone who doesn't know, it's the Prince of Egypt. Yes, I'm singing the Prince of Egypt. By the way, it's an amazing movie, and you should watch it and then compare it to the original text and see all the mistakes they made. Moshe was 80. He was 80 during Yetziat Mitzrayim. He was not 40 and looked Val Kilmer-ish, okay? He was 80. And Sipporah wasn't there. Although we're all glad she was for the song in the movie, she wasn't there for Yetziat Mitzrayim. Read the text. Okay, sorry. Bunny trail. Okay, so what happens as we move forward, right? We move forward out of Egypt, right? Okay, we have this big, what?
She would have drowned then. What do you mean she wasn't there?
Girl, she wasn't there. They sent her back at the border of Egypt. She didn't come. She didn't see the miracles in Egypt, and she didn't go through the sea. She shows up later.
Oh.
I know, right? The more you know. Okay, so we have this moment, right? We're free. We're free. We left. We are leaving all of our restrictions, right? Pesach's a 7-day holiday, Hevre. You have the moment of the Seder, which is the moment where we're talking about our freedom and our escape. But what's the last day? What happened on the 7th day of Pesach? The sea splits. It's not a coincidence. What did Hashem do after 7 days? After 7 days, what are the Jews at, right? You have this huge freedom moment. You're like, yeah, I'm free. Yes, amazing. Woo. Okay. And then 7 days later, you're like, oh no, this new thing is scary. Oh, this is real. This got real. This is scary. I kind of miss the comfort zone. I kind of miss back there. And that's exactly what happened to Bnei Israel. They're standing at the shores of the sea. And they're like, we want to go home. We want to go back. We want to go. It's scary here. And Hashem's like, my beloved children, let me remind you again. I even control the sea. I'm about to open it. When you make a change, change is hard. Change is very hard. And it's very hard to sustain it. And it's very hard to not slide back to where that comfort was. And that's the message of the 7th day of Pesach. And that's the message of if we got this far, he'll even open the sea. He'll even open that which is limitless, the greatest unlimited thing. God's got that one too. There is no constriction in our world. If you want it, and if you want to keep going for it, it will even open the sea for you. So as we're going through the Pesach Seder, what you've got to imagine in this Pesach Seder is you're talking about leaving behind whatever it's time to leave behind. You're celebrating all the things that you've left behind before, which, by the way, kol hakavod to all of you. You've all left stuff behind. Y'all have all grown in some ways in your life. Me too. Okay? We've all grown. So we're celebrating all of those exodus, but we're also celebrating all of the further exodus that's going to happen right now. As we're drinking those 4 cups of wine, each one of those cups of wine is reminding us that Hashem says, I will take you out. I will save you. I will redeem you from this, and I will take you for myself. I am here right now. It's not sit there and remember the bitterness of the slavery only. It's to remember the bitterness of being stuck in a place where you couldn't love yourself. It's the bitterness of being stuck in a place where you only thought you deserved toxic relationships. It's the bitterness of a place where you thought tefillah wasn't for you. It's the bitterness of a place where you couldn't love you. It's the bitterness of whatever the heck you're trying to leave behind. As you chew on that maror, you're like, ugh, this is gross. I'm over this. Let's leave. I'm ready to leave this place. As we sing Hallel, as we sing the song of Hallel, we're saying, thank you so much, Hashem. And apparently there's a spider in my hallway. Sorry. Woo! Miriam Leah, can you take the spider away from the door?
It's not there. I just ran away.
Okay, you just ran away?
Yeah, and it's staying here.
Okay. Love you.
Let me smell the seal, huh?
Don't sit outside the door and listen to the share. Go away, I love you. Okay, sorry. Like, this is the thing, is the Pesach Seder is about your freedom. So if you want to celebrate a Seder, and if you want it to be meaningful, you need to identify. You need to identify, what are you stuck in right now? What are you over? What's mar in your life? What's bitter in your life? What's the bitterness of your life that you're ready to leave behind? What is the thing that you need to leave behind? What is your Egypt right now? What is the thing that when you try to leave Pharaoh, your Yetzer Hara makes fun of you? Or what's the thing that's keeping you so stressed out and busy that you can't deal with? Or what's the thing that's absolutely terrifying for you to try right now? What is your Mitzrayim? What are you ready to cry out for and say, Hashem, Avadim Hayiti, Shifcha Hayiti, I was a slave to this. Man, I was a slave to this. I'm over it. I was a slave to this Mitzrayim. I've been stuck in this Mitzrayim, and this Pharaoh has got me stuck so far. I am ready. Zman cherutenu, Zman cheruti. It's time, Hashem. I'm ready to leave. But without knowing where you are, you cannot ask to be freed. Okay, if you're sitting there in Egypt and you don't know you're in Egypt, you can't leave Egypt. Hashem says, I am going to take you to a good land. And notice the language, a wide, open, beautiful land flowing with milk and honey and sweetness. You're stuck in narrow. I'm going to take you to open and wide, full of sweetness. But you have to choose to want to go. You have to know what is your Mitzrayim right now. My Mitzrayim, Ayelet El Nekave, is the belief that I do not have to do any form of tefillah due to the fact that I am insanely busy with these small children all the time. It's true, I am a busy mom. Could I probably find 5 minutes in my day? Yes. Has my Pharaoh been making fun of me about it for about 8 years? Absolutely. Have I still not gotten over it? No. Am I quite ready to leave? Absolutely. Being real, I'm not perfect either. Just because I'm the one talking on the Zoom call, don't think that I'm perfect. Also the person whose kid keeps pushing the button over there. Good job. Love you guys. Like, I am not perfect. I also have stuff I'm stuck in and I'm trying to move through. You guys, everybody's got something that it's time. Igi Azman. The time of Geula is here. The time of leaving this behind is here. And how incredible that we have like maybe a few more minutes in our day, you know, at least whatever we were spending on commuting, probably not as much, or wearing anything other than yoga pants. You probably got that time freed up for you. You know, take a few minutes and be like, what am I over? It doesn't have to be tefillah. It doesn't have to be brachas. It could be self-growth, self-development too. Like, what are you over? Y'all can all be over looking in the mirror and not loving what you see. All of you, we can all leave that Mitzrayim behind. We can all decide that we're over that one. Hashem, take us out of the stupidity of hating ourselves and hating what we look like or hating what body we were given. Hosesi lakaksi, like, take that. My Pharaoh has been wasting way too much of my time in my life, worried about stupidity of how I look. Like, yalla. Let's love the body that God gave us and move forward. Like, whatever it is, identify it, call it Mitzrayim, and this year, as you celebrate your Seder, celebrate that you are now leaving it. The Pharaoh, can you please give us practical tips for how to ask to leave or go about leaving? First off, identify. Step one, identify. That's going to take you sitting down for 5 minutes, turning your phone on airplane mode and thinking. Okay? Step two, ask for help. Yo, God. It doesn't have to be like official. It doesn't have to be in the kotel. It works. Your kotel works too. Kotel literally means wall. I'm assuming you have a wall, so use that. Okay? Talk to God about it. Be like, hey, God, I have identified that I'm over my negative self-image. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take little baby steps. We're going to do something small, manageable, to try to work on it. Okay, but after we identify it and we ask God for help with it, and we like have this moment of feeling of like, I'm gonna leave this behind, that good feeling of like, yeah, I can get rid of this. And then we're gonna understand we take those little baby steps, right? The first time it's gonna be really easy, second time it's gonna be a little bit easier, third time, and then we're gonna about 7 days in, it's gonna be really, really hard, and we're gonna be scared, and we're gonna wanna go back to Egypt, and that's the moment where we're like, God, open the sea because I need help. And then God can go, I'm going to make your Instagram feed exclusively inspirational quotes exactly about what you're dealing with in your life. What, no one else gets Instagram Nevuah? Being like, I think I need to work on toxic relationships. And then somebody puts that TikTok of like, see a toxic person and we're walking the other way. Walk the other way. Toxic person, walk away, right? And it's like God's talking to you through the Instagram. He'll take whatever he can get, okay? So we're going to understand that on the 7th day, or maybe the 10th day, after we do this, it's going to be really, really hard. And we're going to ask for more help. We're going to not forget that the limitless God who got us on the journey can get us all the way. Does that make sense? And you just keep baby stepping your way up out of that. Coming out of the comfort zone, coming out of Egypt, guys, it wasn't quick go. It wasn't like, oh, Har Sinai, oh, Israel. Like it was a year process. And even then we needed another 40. So if it takes you a minute, it's okay. It's okay. but we just keep going. We just keep going. We just keep baby stepping up out of Egypt. And even though over and over, B'nai Israel are like, take us back to Egypt. And you're always like, what's wrong with these people? Egypt was awful. Boo, the comfort zone is a pull. And so when you're like, I want to go back, it's okay. You just love yourself, just like Hashem loved us in the desert. And we're not going back there, honey. We're walking away. It's apparently a really large spider in my hallway.
Okay, I accidentally killed a spider the other day with my finger, and it was the most horrific thing ever.
You are a strong and powerful woman.
I know, I'm a warrior.
Warrior princess, so much. Okay, guys, I have to go because we all need to go put on our yoga pants, and we all need to go do Zumba with Rachel. And, you know.
Is that now?
Yes, it's at 7:00 Israel time, which is now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
Do it. It's so much
yeah,
fun.
thanks, guys. I love you guys so much. Pesach Kasher Sameach. If you need me, you can WhatsApp me, DM me, whatever. I'm here. So take care. Much love.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you so much.
I think she's out. Bye, everyone.
Bye.